All right, Val Constien, 9:37. You finished second here in the first round of the steeple, moving on to the final. How are you feeling about your race today?
Really good. I mean, Lexi did a great job. She just kind of went to the front and set the pace, and then Angelina and I just kind of ran right behind her, kind of boxed everyone out, and we were able to run pretty smooth, nice and relaxed, no drama, just the way we like it.
In this kind of race, is there anything you can take from this one into the final, or is it just kind of checking a box to make your way through?
There's definitely, you can kind of see up close and personal what your competition's form is like and what some of their maybe like tells are if we're playing a poker game. I'm not going to tell you what I learned from my competitors today, but it's definitely, I learned some useful things that I think could be very beneficial in the final.
How do you feel about your season to this point?
Yeah, great question. I've definitely had a slower start to the season than years past, but honestly, I'm peaking at the right time, and I think that's all that really matters. So I think, Doha wasn't great. Oslo, I had a face plant with like 3 laps to go, which was a huge bummer. But things have definitely started turning around since then. And so I think that, if anything, my best races are ahead of me.
Why do you think you had a slow start this year?
I set it up that way because I knew that, the goal is to qualify for the world team, but I have to do that here. And then there's a bunch of really great races after this. So if I need to be ready to go in August, then it doesn't really make sense to be in peak form in May. And so we did set it up to be that way. And yeah, I've been doing a lot more threshold training than I ever have in my entire life. And so that aerobic piece takes a long time to build. And you kind of do have to flip a switch between aerobic and anaerobic steep specific. And in the past, we were always just race ready year round, but I definitely would plateau hard and then crash at the end of every season. And so this time around, I have a new coach and we're able to do things differently. And so I'm definitely trying to build throughout the whole year and avoid that crash at the end.
We saw the way this final went last year at trials,
yeah.
And it feels like this year is even faster leading into that. Like,
yeah.
What do you think? What are you kind of expecting how the final is going to play out?
I mean, I think that there's a lot of different racing styles, and I'm sure that anyone who watches the steeplechase, the styles are pretty obvious. And so I think that there's a really good chance that from the gun, it's going to be really fast. I think it's probably going to be an honest race from the start, and it's going to be hot and sunny during the race on Saturday. And so I think, people who can just manage that the best and are there with 2 laps to go, it's going to be probably pretty similar to last year in what the last maybe 2 or 3 laps is like, I would assume.
Are you happy about where you're at then, like fitness-wise right now?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I ran a 9:37 and it felt super easy, super controlled. And so, yeah, it was great. I'm feeling really, really happy.
Is there something about the steeplechase that you think can lead to these big breakthroughs and championships? Because I know you dropped your PR a lot at the trials, and so did Marissa Howard at the final. It's pretty rare to see like the PRs by that much. So like,
not
is
in
there
the
something
steeplechase.
about So what about the steeplechase? Why do you think it allows for that?
The only way to get better at the steeplechase is to do the steeplechase. You cannot replicate a 3,000 meter steeplechase in practice. And so the rhythm, the gutsiness, figuring out how much is left in the tank and when you can go. Like in a 5K, you can just empty the tank with a lap to go. You cannot do that with a steeplechase, because if you do that, you could fall. You could hit a barrier. There's all kinds of horrible things that can happen. They could totally ruin your race. And so a steeple is completely unlike any other event, where the only way to get better at it is to do it. And so that's why you can see, 10-second PBs, race after race after race, throughout the course of the whole season, because the more you do it, the better you get, and you just cannot replicate it in practice.
In terms of managing your energy, you mean?
No, just in terms of the rhythm.
Yeah.
Like, if you've never raced the steeplechase, it's kind of hard to understand, but there is definitely a rhythm and an intensity that you cannot replicate in practice. Even if you wheeled the barriers out onto the track and you did a time trial, unless you're hurdling over an immovable barrier that weighs 200 pounds with people elbowing you in the face and spiking your legs, that just cannot be replicated in practice, no matter how many threshold workouts you do, no matter how many hurdle flights you do or hurdle mobility drills. there's just no way to replicate a steeplechase except to do a steeplechase. And so that's why people can take huge chunks of time out, because you get the rhythm, you get the confidence, you nail those water jumps, and then it comes together at the right time. And I mean, if you have bad water jumps, that can cost you half a second every lap. If you have a bad hurdle, it can cost you a quarter of a second per lap. So if all your hurdles are bad and your water jump is bad, that's like a second a lap that you're wasting, basically, from an energy standpoint, or more than that. And so really nailing that rhythm can save you 7 seconds in a race.
I feel like you're still